For us at System76, I think the current situation has not been too bad because work from home users are buying computers at a crazy rate, way more than supply can keep up with. So it's like if we get a component, we know we're going to sell it. We have no inventory issues other than acquiring components. Previously, it was like, well, are we going to buy too much of this GPU or this hard drive? Now it's like, whatever you can get your hands on, we know somebody will buy. So it is a strange market that way because we're doing so much work, yet we're not able to keep up with the amount of sales we would have otherwise. If the supply situations weren't there, it really takes a lot more effort per customer to make sure that they're happy than when we're selling hundreds of these machines each month. Like the Pangolin was sold out in 2 days, maybe.
And that's the new Ryzen laptop, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone was excited. We had far more people sign up to get notified than were able to buy the laptop. Then they go to the website, and it could be like the day after they get the email, the Pangolin is now available. They go on the website and they can't configure it because it's sold out already. So then they contact our support staff, and then our support staff have to tell them, well, this is the amount of product we were allocated. This is what we were able to produce. It already sold out. And thankfully, we haven't had to raise prices on laptops. Unfortunately, we have had to raise prices on GPUs because we aren't able to buy them at reasonable prices right now. So
yeah, so you've seen the pricing on the Thelio go up a little bit because of the NVIDIA and AMD situation.
In a lot of cases, we can get the GPUs at a lower price than what you can find online in typical marketplaces. So pre-builts are actually a really good option for people trying to get a GPU just because of the way the allocation works. When GPU manufacturers can make more, they will give a larger percentage to online retailers. Right now, they're giving a larger percentage to physical retailers and to system integrators. So it can be really tough to find a GPU on your own.
Do you think that they're doing that just to avoid the scalping?
Yes, absolutely. When it goes to a system integrator, you can negotiate for a lower price than what you see. We still have higher prices than what happened before the pandemic. We've lowered our margins on components quite a bit to keep our products competitive. But no matter what, if you go shop around for a system configured the same way, you're going to see rises in every system integrator. And that another thing is why we weren't able to get AMD GPUs until recently is related to the same kind of allocation.
You know what? On that note, though, I do want to say I reinstalled Pop! OS today on my Falcon Northwest Talon, and so I'm rocking a 6800 XT and a 6800 with support out of the box on Pop 2010, and that was wonderful to see.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that. The 6700 XT was actually a little harder because not all of the changes needed were in any of the upstream projects. So we had to search for firmware and search for some changes to Linux that were sent in as emails from AMD employees but weren't applied yet. And the same thing for Mesa. And then once we got the 6700 XT, about a week later we got in supply of the 6800 XT. And it just worked because we had done the work to get the 6700 XT working. So yeah, this is something I really wish we could have done much earlier. And now I think our relationship with AMD is such that we will get visibility to GPUs much earlier.
When the 6800 XT first launched, there were some salty Linux fans out there, and they were salty at people like me. And, not directly, but I was kind of the one saying, like, if AMD had maybe sent my GPU for review over to a system integrator like System76, maybe I wouldn't be complaining here on this video about the complete lack of any support.
Yeah, it was strange. And usually you'd expect, well, okay, the hardware support, they probably got it upstream before the card was released. So I'll just pull Arch and I'll pull the testing Arch repos. And there was no support there either. They didn't release firmware or a number of patches required to fully support the card until quite a bit later. And none of the distro developers had it. So It was either in the hands of AMD personnel. Basically, their job is just to make sure the patches are sent in. Their job is not to make sure there's a distribution you can download that actually supports it.
Their only job is basically to say, like, here's the official AMD GPU Pro package for Ubuntu LTS. Essentially is where their responsibility ends.
It was interesting because both you and Phoronix got the card and did reviews of it. I
did a Windows review.
Yeah, you had to.
Because that's all I could do.
They sent cards to people who are renowned and pretty much only known for Linux-based benchmarking and Linux-based reviews. I'm sure you and Michael from Phoronix worked together to figure some things out, and Wendell from Level 1 Techs. And eventually, I was delighted to see at least, but the fact that so many Linux-based reviewers had the card before any distribution developers kind of shows that they weren't really figuring out how to launch the card on Linux.
Next time, what I suggested to them was send it to people maybe over at Red Hat or Valve who are working on the graphics stack because they're your best asset.
At least if it got to someone at Valve, they would figure out how to get patches into the more popular distributions. They thought that the Pro driver was enough for launch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really install on a wide variety of distributions. So maybe if you had stock Ubuntu 2004 LTS, maybe even 1804, it would work. Even now, the Pro driver doesn't work on a lot of distributions.
And I want to thank you for you and the System76 team for all the work that you guys did on this, and you guys eased a lot of pain points with Zen 2 as well. So it's something that I always remind people about. Like, if you're gonna do bleeding edge hardware, don't make Arch necessarily your first stop just because it's a rolling distro. There's companies out there with a vested interest in getting their hardware to play nice with the new hardware that is being sold by others.